have all the equipment necessary to be able to stand strongly, as we always have as members of NATO, and we will continue to look at what more we can do.
Thanks very much, Justin. Fleur Lansbach from NOS.
I have a question for Prime Minister Johnson. Last week there was a journalist in Poland that asked you, why do Ukrainians have to flee their homes? Why are their children taking the hit in this war, while Putin's friends and his inner circle are still living in London's most beautiful houses and taking their children to private schools? I was just wondering, has anything changed since that question was asked?
Thank you very much, Fleur. Yes, it certainly has, and I think that if you look at what we've done just today with the economic crime bill, we're taking steps to ensure that we whip aside the veil of anonymity that obscures the ownership of the properties that you described. So you can no longer use a bogus company to conceal your ownership of a property. Where we are making sure that we have new powers to distrain, to take people's assets, and we think that will have. We think that the whole package of measures that we're putting forward today will have royal assent in just a few days' time. So we're moving very, very fast on that. But Fleur, I hope that our viewers and all of you will recognise that is in addition to the huge work that the UK has done together with Mark and with Justin on the big package of international sanctions. And if you look at what we did together on SWIFT, what we did on the Russian central bank, it's already had a profound effect. And I think I'm right in saying that even today the Russian stock market is not opening. And there's not a testimonial I necessarily seek, but I observed that the Russian Foreign Ministry said that the UK had not been entirely helpful in this regard towards their own economic interests. And I'm sure you'll have seen what she said, and we are going to continue to work with colleagues to ensure that we tighten the vice around President Putin's regime. Look, what's happening now is that the President of Russia is plainly doubling down. He's decided that he's going to continue with an all-out onslaught on centres of habitation in a way that we think is utterly repugnant. It's clear that we're going to have to do more, and as friends and partners, that's what we're going to do. I don't think that question was for anybody else. Let's go to Jason Groves from the Daily Mail.
Thank you. You've all had some success with your sanctions. They're squeezing Russia, but they're also having an impact here. We've seen the gas price treble. We're seeing petrol prices heading towards £2 a litre. What do you say, Prime Minister, to people who desperately want to help but are worried about that? Can you give a commitment now that there is going to be more help on the way? Mr. Trudeau, can I ask, is Canada ready to increase its oil and gas output to help wean Mr. Rutte and others off that Russian gas? And also, you've seen the Queen today. How is she? We've not seen her for a while. Is she fighting fit?
Jason, look, a really important question. I think everybody is going to be thinking that everybody's seen what's happened to the price of oil. This matters deeply, which is why I think what Mark had to say earlier on about the need to proceed in steps is correct, and we must do everything we can to protect consumers and the public. There are going to be impacts. Let's be in no doubt there are going to be impacts, but I think that it's the right thing to do. But we've got to, and it's the right thing. It's completely the right thing to do to move away from Russian hydrocarbons, from dependence on Russian hydrocarbons. But we've got to do it step by step. So far, the success of the West has been in the unity that we've shown. I think we're all increasingly united in the view that we've got to move away now from Russian hydrocarbons. We've got to do it together. We've got to make sure that we have substitute and substitute supply. And that's what we're working on as well. We will do everything that we can to ensure that we have substitute and substitute supply. So one of the things that we're looking at is the possibility, using more of our own hydrocarbons, and you'll have heard already what the business secretary has had to say about licenses for UK's own domestic production. That doesn't mean that we are in any way abandoning our commitment to reducing CO2. You can do that, but we've got to reflect the reality that there is a crunch on at the moment. We need to intensify our self-reliance as a transition with more hydrocarbons. But what we also need to do is go for more nuclear and much more use of renewable energy. And I'm going to be setting out an energy strategy, an energy supply strategy for the country in the days ahead, so that people have a sense of how we're going to meet people's needs over the short, medium, and long term. Marieka, sorry, Justin, sorry.
It's all good. What we learned over the past couple of years is that global challenges have impacts domestically. COVID crisis was a perfect example of disrupted supply chains that led to significant inflation challenges around the world. We made a promise to Canadians that we'd have people's backs, and that's exactly what we've been focused on. The challenge right now of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine is having ripple effects around the world, not just in energy prices for Canadians and for people in Europe, but for people in the global south as well. Disruption of the UN food program, disruptions that are happening that we are going to have to adjust to, and we're going to have to make sure we are there for each other. And that is the focus that we have as partners, but it's why we've all been reaching out around the world to talk with fellow leaders about the challenges they're facing, the challenges their people are facing. Because what we are learning about Russia's unreliability as a trading partner needs to be remembered, but we also have to work together to provide substitutes, to provide alternatives. And of course, we need to move forward to decarbonizing our economies, but we need to do that in a way that supports people through that process, and we're going to continue doing that. In regards to Her Majesty, I have the particular privilege of having known Her Majesty for about 45 years now, and I can tell you that in my conversation with her this morning, she was as insightful and perspicacious as ever, very interested in what's going on, asked me all sorts of questions about Canada, and we had a really useful, for me anyway, conversation about global events, as we always do.
Thanks very much, Justin. Okay, Marieka Walsh from the Globe and Mail.
Good afternoon, thank you. A few questions for all three of you. You're talking about this humanitarian coalition. What exactly is that? What good will it do for the people of Ukraine concretely? And regarding sanctions, Prime Minister Trudeau is announcing more today, but we haven't seen it actually change the behavior of Russia in Ukraine. So, is enough being done on that? And Prime Minister Johnson, particularly for you, you spend more than the 2% target in NATO. Canada spends well less. Is that acceptable to you?
Do you want to have a go at that first?
Go on.
Okay, well, thank you, Marieka. Marieka, thank you very much. Look, yes, it's true. We spend about 2.4% now. But look,